I am excited to bring you this uncut. I have been doing this exercise with clients, with boards, with my family, with my partner for a long time. And so if you will indulge me on this tiny uncut edition, these are the short episodes that happen between each of the episodes. I want to bring you on a journey. If you're in front of somewhere where you can make notes, go ahead and grab a pen and paper. If you are listening to this in the car, I want you to kind of keep driving, please keep driving, and focus on the driving, but I want you to let your mind wander. Do a brain dump. This is what I'm going to teach you to do today is when I am not sure what the one thing is and when it feels like I'm swimming and when I don't have clarity. Remember we said in the podcast that a leader's job is to have a clear sense of priority. That's what achievers do. Sidebar before we get into the brainstorming. There is an amazing quote, and I'm going to botch it, but it's through Warren Buffett. And it was a pilot that asked Warren Buffett, how do I have the kind of success that you have, Warren? How do I do that? I want to be just like you. And Warren Buffett's advice was very straightforward. He said, write down a list of all the things you want to accomplish in life. Write them all down. And then go through and remove as many as you can to get it down to 10. And then keep cutting and pick the top 3 things that you want to accomplish in life and focus there. Very prophetic from a guy that Warren Buffett, who has created immense wealth for Americans, Canadians, and all the people that own his Berkshire Hathaway stock. What he's talking about is getting ridiculously disciplined on how you spend your energy and your time. You might be kind of surprised because many of my podcasts are about mindset and how you approach things and your emotional and internal states, your soul. But this marrying of this knowledge of yourself and your self-awareness and your leadership skills with this razor sharp discipline is kind of like a magic pill for success. I love that quote from Warren Buffett, and I find it incredibly hard. And whenever I find things that are hard, I always like to lean in. So Warren Buffett's already told us that you need to streamline and simplify. That probably doesn't feel like your life right now. It probably feels like you're pulled in a cajillion directions. And one of the hardest things to do is actually to pause, take stock, and say, no, not now. Notice I said, no, not now, because as a pleaser, as somebody who loves to achieve and do things, it's really hard for me to take something right off the table. And that's why the word parking lot works for me. So as you're writing your text here on your paper, you might actually be starting to have a parking lot. I'd love to do that, but I'm just not sure how. Right now, for example, accordion, playing the accordion is on my parking lot. I bought one. It's sitting in my living room staring at me, and I just haven't had the thought, space, etc., to try and dive into it. But it's there, and it brings me joy when I see it. I just can't get there. So if you're sitting down, take 2 minutes and just throw everything that's in your head. Just throw it all down. And if you need to, you can just pause this podcast. So if you're driving, this is harder, right? So I want you to sort of let your mind wander. I'm going to stop talking for a couple seconds, or you might just pause the podcast. Whew. So I just did that for myself just right there. And I checked in with my mind and my thoughts, and it was kind of like a tornado. I'm not going to lie. It's a bit chaotic in there. And I want to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way. And directing your focus is the important thing. So you've got all this stuff down on the paper. Then I want you to take a look at things and start asking yourself, is that achievable today, or let's call it by the end of next week? Or is it like a bigger? And take the biggers and move them off somewhere else. And again, you can pause the podcast if you want to. Move those over. Maybe they fit in the 10 dreams in 10 years list. They're not like today, right? And then take a look at what's in front of you and start to circle the ones that sort of pull at your gut that you know are most important. Not necessarily that you want to do, but the ones that you know are most important that will get you. Because the podcast last week was all about the one thing, right? What's the one thing? And let yourself think strategically. This is where you kind of distance yourself from the actions to move away to the observing and to the strategic piece of it. Which ones have the most circles? I'm looking down. If you're watching me on YouTube, I'm looking down because I'm like imagining looking at the list. Which ones have more circles? Which ones don't? Why do they have more circles? What is it about those things? And then I want you to start ranking them, prioritizing them. And this is where the pedal to the metal, and it gets really hard, right? Take a look at them. You can pause me if you want. Okay, so in the spirit of transparency, I'm also walking the talk and walking through things with you. But in my role at Chavender as CEO, this is the place I need to play. Nobody needs me in their inboxes. Nobody needs me doing the day-to-day. What I need to be doing is vision casting. What I need to be doing is figuring out the next one thing. And so with those things that are circled, what are the next one things? So now you've got your next one things. You've got your parking lot, which are like sort of the big ones. And then you've got your tasks. The final step is the prioritization of those things has been done. Now you need to map them into your calendar. And I am the worst at this because I always assume things take way less time than they do. Anybody out there can relate? Oh my God, it's not that hard. I'll just do blank, blank, blank. And then like 5 hours later, and I've dived in and I've changed this and that, right? Put a realistic time amount beside those things. I believe that we get to have the power to decide when something's done. So one of the ways we sabotage ourselves is we change the goalposts. We say, well, this should only take a half a day, but really it's a total strategic rewrite of all your programming or a total change of direction for your business. And you think you can do that in a half a day. Try and think realistically and then add more time. So put that beside all your circled things. And then you map it into your calendar. Because just like everybody else, you only have a certain amount of time, and your calendar is the best way for you to know. And you've made those dates with yourself so that you are upholding your own priorities. We talked about this in the podcast last week about there are the tasks and then there are the outcomes and the successes. Where do you want to get to? Put them into your calendar like that as the one things. And make them non-negotiable with yourself. Maybe you reward yourself with a cup of coffee when you do them. Maybe you reward yourself with an extra half hour going home early. I don't know what turns your crank. You get to go swimming, whatever it is, but honor yourself with those time blocks. And I'm going to leave you here. I hope you enjoyed this uncut. This brain dump is available for you at any time, and it takes so little energy and effort, you guys, but it could take less than 3 minutes. Put a timer on, but it will bring you the most incredible clarity, the most understanding and knowing that you are on the right path.